Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome for the first time Amway Chief Executive Officer, Milind Pant.
First of all, I just want to say thank you for the warm welcome, Stephen Doug, and thank you for continuing to be my gurus. Also, with all of us here who love both of you and the 2 decades of leadership you've had, building Amway to be even bigger and better. Hey, everyone, join me please in thanking Doug and Steve. Please, everyone, let's do it. Come on! For me, this afternoon, it's truly a privilege to be here in Vegas among our best and biggest ABO leaders from across the world. Thank you for your warm welcome. In the last 100 days, I had the opportunity to meet many of you, be it in Ada, or Buena Park, or Monterey, or in China, in Beijing, Shanghai, Guangzhou, Seoul, Tokyo, Bangkok. We were there in India, in Calcutta, in Madurai, in Delhi, and then went to Taipei with the team there, and then of course in Miami, where I had a rocking party with the team there, with the new ABO prospects. But it was great. We're here in Vegas in A60 to honor you, to celebrate your achievements. And congratulations once again to each and every one of you from across the world. Now, as I traveled and met all of you and spoke to many of you, you shared with me how the context of our business is changing, and changing fast. But I also learned from you that there are a couple of things about our Amway and our business that will never change. The first is our purpose, helping people live better lives. The second are the 4 founders' fundamentals: freedom, family, hope, and reward. And the third is the partnership that we've had for 60 years. This partnership is the secret recipe of our shared success. And along with everyone in Team Amway, it's my commitment to you to strengthen this partnership in the coming years. The other thing which I learned, and this was shared earlier this afternoon, is that customers have been core to our business, along with ABOs and our prospects, customers. Rich and Jay believed customers are the first necessity for the business. Because without customers, business ceases to exist. As I was going through the archives, I came across this sculpture, this statue. I'm sure many of you remember that this is from 1973. It's a massive piece, 1,000 pounds, over 15 feet tall. It used to be in the world headquarters, and now it's in Guangzhou at the AAC. This is what the statue is about. Let's take a look. The foundation of the statue is the founding families. Then are the Amway employees, like me. We're here to serve you, our ABO leaders. Then at the top are customers enjoying our products. As I went across the world, this is what some of you had to say to me about customers and products. So let's hear it.
We teach our IBOs to use the product, to get knowledge about the product, to know about it, to have it available. So when they're around prospective customers, they'll use the product, whether it's a light up lip gloss or a vitamin B.
So use your own products, be your best customer. It'll help you build a large customer base.
一番大事な方っていうのはこのアメの製品を本当に大好きで、そしていつも繰り返しリピート、されるお客様ですよね。そういう方たちを大事にしないといけないということを歴史でボスから聞いたんですけれども、このアメの製品を通して、顧客ととても、楽しい、コミュニティを取るということが日々、幸せなことだと私は思ってます。
阿米已经进入移动互联网、移动商店、跨境电商了，还有社交电商了，所以你也可以做一个这样子的人，所以你就可以从网上开始卖一样东西，甚至于就从网上引流下来，引流下来以后让他转化，让他知道阿米有多好。
公司现在推出的常客会计划，就是要帮助那些喜爱我们安利产品的顾客，给他们更多的实惠，让他们变成我们的忠实顾客。
现在呢，安利公司有了云购平台，也有了微购平台，就是让我们把我们的顾客变成数字化的顾客，大大的就提升了我们服务顾客、拓展顾客、链接顾客的速度。
A strong and sustainable Amway business is measured by the size of loyal customer and quality leaders. In order to achieve that, ABO need to be the product of the product.
제품은 언제나 가장 중요한 요소입니다. 우리 ABO들은 언제나 새로운 시대에 걸맞는 강력하고 독자적이며 경쟁력 있는 제품들을 원합니다.
You want to be the product of the product. What does that mean? That means embracing the Neutralite supplements and being active and enthusiastic, talking about it. And you'll see that in your physical nature, in your attitudes to people. It's being the product, and so people want to be around you. So you've got to be a person who's positive and exciting and interested, and people want to be a part of that life.
Isn't it inspiring to hear from our best and biggest leaders from across the world? Now, all of you have been successful building your businesses, respecting the different needs of customers and the prospects of the business. Now we know that the needs, as you go forward to A60, 2029, the needs of both the customers and the ABO prospects are changing and changing across the world. So what are the couple of mega trends that are out there that I've learned traveling across the world? The first is the power of online communities. These communities are being built around shared passion and shared interest. And none of this is going to be a surprise to you because you're living these communities yourself. The second is easy digital experiences. Now, the e-commerce companies are of course driving this, be it Taobao in China, or Rakuten in Japan, or Amazon across the world. And the third one, which is really important for our prospects of our opportunity, is that today young people have multiple options with the growing gig economy. If they're looking for flexibility and easy early earnings, in addition to Amway, they have lots of other opportunities. So while we celebrate our achievements, while we celebrate our legacy, we also seek your partnership and your leadership to change going forward, your pioneering spirit to change going forward. Now you've built your business to last generations. We have a shared obligation to your next generation in your organization, your next generation of leaders, to your children, to drive this change going forward as we think about our business from here A60 to A70. As I travel across the world, some of my most inspiring moments were meeting our young ex-card ABO leaders who are building the future of Amway today. Let's hear from them.
We all love to have Amway's support to make more customers, and we need Amway's help to better connect with my new friends.
Hello everyone, this is Lorenz, doing a lot of online activities recently and building ourselves as a brand on Instagram and Facebook. It is very important nowadays.
これから世界中の ABO の皆さんとソーシャルメディアを通じてたくさんの世界観を共有してたくさんの人にAmwayの世界を伝えられるのがすごく楽しみです。今からワクワクです。ありがとうございます。
Hello， 大家好，我是来自上海的周佳慧。新的数字化时代新产品让我们非常的兴奋，因为一部手机、一个兴趣、一群朋友，看到不一样的案例展现方式，可以帮助我大大的链接和吸引更多 U35的优质顾客和合作伙伴们。
Simplemente decirles que nosotros entendimos que nuestra marca arrancaba a partir de ser producto del producto.
Así es, pues pensamos que esa es la manera más fácil de crear comunidad, compartiendo los objetivos del joven de hoy día, que no es solamente verse bien, sino también sentirse bien.
Even though our operation is now much more sophisticated and complicated, the principle never changed. Amway is a business for everyone.
Well, Mr. Fu is sitting here in front of me, and as he said, Amway is a business for everyone. So we've got to help every person, the new person, every new ABO to succeed going forward. Now, Amway has invested in capabilities over decades, and we have awesome capabilities. Going forward, we need to invest and build a couple of new ones. So what are these? Like Makiko-san, by the way, who's not here with us, Vegas, but you all know about Makiko-san. The team Japan is here. They know her very well. She's building her personal brand, both offline and now increasingly online. This is true for most of you who have communities which are around your passion. It could be nutrition, it could be beauty, it could be adventure, it could be fitness. We now have the responsibility to build a platform, the tools, the data, the training, so that we can help all of you strengthen your personal brand and help your downline build their brands around whatever is their passion. Cooking, beauty, adventure, or fitness. The second, we are famous for the quality of our products. Amway is known across the world for the quality of its products. So what are these Instagenic products? These are new product ideas in the pipeline, which are Instagram worthy and photogenic, that help our ABOs to sell offline and online and acquire new customers. The third is easy shopping experiences. Now this has been a journey. We continue to invest in this to make it easier for our ABOs to buy and sell, as well as make it easier for their customers to buy from the ABOs, so that we can set every new person up for success. These are early thoughts, and this is a journey to A70, be it Instagenic products, helping build your personal brand and that of everyone in your organization, your downlines across the world, and easy shopping experiences. As we do it, let's execute in the near term Amway Next. In the long run, as we build these capabilities, as we design and execute in partnership with you, listening to you, we will evolve from a world of traditional direct selling to a new world of Amway, of social commerce. Steve and Doug mentioned earlier this afternoon of the investment that has been put behind Core Plus. Social commerce, Core Plus together. Imagine what A70 would look like. As Rich and Jay always said, it's our duty together to continue to build an Amway that's even bigger and even better. Imagine if an A70 we need a hall here or other place which is 3 times the size. What if the special events team needs to get 15,000 hotel rooms instead of 5,000? Won't that be great? This will be an adventure like no other. Imagine, I agree, imagine what this would mean for your legacy, for your downline, your organization, for your next generation, for your children. For me and everyone in Team Amway, it's a privilege and an honor to be along with you on this journey. Arigato, komisionida, terima kasih, kopkun krab, dhanyawad, danke, spasiba, gracias, obrigado, thank you all.
We have been given an incredible gift.
You are the inheritors of the tradition.
We have to be the keepers of the flame, so to speak.
To perpetuate the philosophies and ideas that have been built into this company.
And we're excited to carry on the torch. The family is here to serve the business.
But G3 is the next generation of the DeVos and Bonanno families.
We have a really wide range of experience. We're entrepreneurs, social entrepreneurs.
Legal interests, some of us have marketing interests.
I myself have a medical degree.
At the end of the day, we're all bringing that back and we're all using that to better this company.
I am passionate about the Amway business.
They have grown up in this.
They understood what the Amway business is about, what it meant to Dad and Jay.
An opportunity to empower an individual to improve their lives.
It's what draws people to us, what has made this company last 60 years now.
You know, Dad and Rich, they always stress to us, I can remember this from the time I was a little girl, the importance of the partnership.
ABO's success is Amway's success.
Without doubt, this business ceases to exist. Amway does not succeed if we don't make ABO successful in their businesses.
The more and more I interact with ABOs, the more and more I realize just how much work they put into their businesses, which is really incredible.
It's really going to be awesome to see the second and third generation of our ABOs work together with our third generation. I think that's going to increase the bond even more.
We're ready. We're ready to be a part of this company.
And our commitment is to stay engaged with this business.
Continuing to grow, continuing to evolve.
Amway 60 years ago isn't the same Amway as it is today.
But 60 years from now, it's going to be different than it is today as well.
This company, this business, has made promises from the beginning, and we intend to keep those promises for generations into the future.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Managing Director of Amway Japan, Peter Stridham.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. It is my privilege and honor to be hosting and moderating this panel of young, successful Amway leaders As we celebrate 60 years of Amway here this week in Las Vegas, we wanted to take an opportunity to look to the future a little bit. And so with us today, we have some highly successful ABO leaders, young ones. By the way, I'm the designated old guy for this panel. Our young ABO leaders right here, Ninoy from Thailand. Francis from North America. Miki from South Korea. Yes. You guys got great support. And we have third generation Van Andel family members, Rachel and Aaron. And third generation DeVos family, Dalton. Right, so I'm going to get straight into it. Ninoy, I'm going to start with you, if that's okay. What you don't know, ladies and gentlemen, that this is actually a very special day for Ninoy, because today, 10 years ago, to the day, is when he left home to start building his Amway business full-time. He literally walked out of the door today, 10 years ago. And you built the business to Crown Ambassador. So Nino, I'm talking to you, even though we're celebrating 60 years, you talk about just getting started, right? Give us your thoughts on why you think people would want to join Amway today as a lifelong vocation.
All right, thank you. Now, first of all, I'd like to express my deepest gratitude for the privilege of being up here tonight. And 10 years ago today, I left my family business, noodle factory, because I didn't want to spend the rest of my life making noodles. I want to spend the rest of my life helping people. And today is a particular honor for me, knowing the fact that at age 50, I just signed up, and I was just a silver producer. And I know that my story is just a tiny bit of a larger Amway story, and I owe it to everyone here, especially all the diamond and above in Thailand, and the Thailand management who has been supporting me. And in no other business on earth is my story even possible. I believe that Amway could be a lifelong career, because in life, we are all here to find our purpose, to grow to our maximum potential, to serve the people, and to become a more divine being. I believe so. And in Amway teaches me all that. Apart from that, what I find very, very unique and interesting in this business is, you know, the reward in Amway teaches you how to be smart, knowing what you want. But fortunately, during the journey to wherever you want to be in Amway teaches us to be wise, knowing what we don't want, knowing what you not want, to serve rather than to rule, to lead rather than to control, to build but not to own, to grow and to keep more. Since the early day, I started the business when I was 24 years old, and once I understand the marketing plan, I had a long plan, 40 years, that I planned to build this business, and I divided it into 4 phases. The first 10 years, the second 10 years, third 10 years, the fourth 10 years. The first 10 years, of course, extremely, ultimately focused, work and build, work and build, work and build. The first 10 years, and which brought me to a proud ambassador and a founder council here tonight. Now, I am in my second 10 years now, and what I plan to do is, of course, helping my downline to come to A60 as a founder council, helping more people to succeed, and strengthening my culture code in my organization, and transferring the belief DNA. The third 10 years, I'm going to be in my 50s, and that will be when I transfer my wisdom in life, business, and leadership to the next generation, just like all the FC did for me, just like what Dr. Ju did to me in Korea, Mr. Koo Jong-gok did to me in Kuala Lumpur, like what Mark Lee did to me a few days ago in Antelope, what Miss Onano did to me in Bangkok. Now, I want to emphasize on it. The fourth 10 years, the last 10 years, it is the most amazing 10 years. Just think about it, maybe excited already. During my last 10 years, right, I'm gonna be in my 60s. And that's when I'm gonna be witnessing all the miracles that I started. When I have a father called downline who I barely know. When I have a father crown ambassador who I met probably like twice. Now, is this possible? It will happen because look at all of us here. All of us here are the miracle that Rich and Jay started 60 years ago. From that 25 cent a week ride to Grand Rapids Christian High School. And we are all here. I myself are the miracle of what Mr. Fu Hokian started 40 years ago. I met him only once before I became a crown ambassador. I am a miracle that Amway Thailand started 32 years ago. I am the miracle that my crown ambassador upline, Patrick and Joyce, started 17 years ago. And lastly, I am the miracle that my wife, Fiona, started 8 years ago. So, for me, much more than a lifelong career, Amway is a life-fulfilling career. Life-fulfilling, life-affirming career. Thank you.
Nino, you are an inspiration. Congratulations, what a wonderful achievement. I'm going to change gears a little bit, Rachel. I'm going to put you on the spot, if I may.
Okay.
You're an historian. As you learn about Amway today from your own personal perspective, and you begin to appreciate the rich legacy of Amway, give us your thoughts on what elements of that legacy should live on into the future.
It's very personal for me, and I love that you use the word legacy. It's a wonderful word because it's passing on something that's from the past to the future. So it blends the two, future and past, which as a historian is wonderful. And I feel very heavily the legacy of our grandfathers and the importance of bringing that on. So for me personally, I think Melinda did a great job of talking about all of those core values. Partnership really stands out to me. Because I think Doug said it great, where our grandfathers believed, and I believe, in the inherent value of individuals, of people. And what makes Amway so special is the people. And it's been such a rich experience to meet so many, people on this panel and people at these events. That's where I see true value moving forward. So I'm very blessed to be here and to meet all of you.
Thank you. Thank you for being with us today, Rachel. We appreciate it. You've spoken a little bit about those things that should not change, like partnership. And Minky, we were talking just the other day, but about those things that probably should change as we adapt to be successful in the future, right? Give us some of your thoughts about how we need to stay relevant and adapt to be successful in the future.
Yes. First of all, I have to say it is a great honor for me to sit here as one of the panelists. And in addition, I'm so excited and privileged to have the most energetic and respected leaders from all over the world. Yeah. The whole society is being transformed due to technical changes. So the core of our business lies in the values that never change over the time. But we need to make ourselves adaptable to these technical changes. Helping people live better lives has been the vision of Amway for the last 60 years. So Amway has been making great effort to keep that promise. It has been such a great pride to us ABOs. But I want to point out the word people in this sentence. You know what? These people can refer to the young generation, including the second generation. I think they are different because 14 years ago, when I started this business first, we didn't have smartphone, Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. So these days, young people, they are different in how to think, how to get information, how to communicate, how to consume the products. So now that we have different people, we need to redefine the meaning of the better. So I want to pay attention to the hyper-connectivity of this business. So using social media, we get to know more about each other. So that is very important. For example, if leaders in Korea get to know leaders in Kazakhstan, How about if leaders in the US get to know the leaders in the US, the all leaders will come to see the great vision of one Amway, big Amway.
On a global level.
Yeah, the more we understand each other, the bigger, the better we can make a great synergy. That's the point.
Wonderful vision. Now, Dalton, you're working full-time for Amway right now, and you're working in the area of digital and social media. What are your thoughts on what Minkesh just said?
Yeah, actually, I feel like Milan could answer this question for me. Milan, do you want to come back up here wherever you want? Yeah. No, but seriously, that's exactly the vision. I think that social has been at the core of Amway ever since the beginning. It's just a different way of expressing it, exactly to what Minkesh is saying about adaptability. This new generation, they want to grow up to be social influencers, not professional athletes. They want to be social influencers. Look around this room. Everybody here is an influencer. I think Amway has a unique ability to build influencers because we have been doing it for 60 years.
What's wonderful. Nice. Well said. Now, as we look to the future like this, I'm struck by the fact that there is no older market than North America. In fact, North America is exactly 60 years old, right? Francis, even though it's the oldest market in the world, you guys are being incredibly successful today. Tell us a little bit about your success and what's kind of driving that.
Sure. Well, I also have to say it's such an honor to be here with you guys and to be able to build these relationships. It's been incredible. My optimism is truly rooted in the fact that the values and the principles have remained the same since the inception of Amway 60 years ago. And as we continue to change and evolve, sure, we may look a little different, we may dress a little different, our roles may be a little different, but the root system, the core value system is the same, and that provides me a lot of comfort and security moving forward into the future to A70, A80, A90, A100 and beyond. Because that is the centerpiece of everything we do here, and it is most important to keep that going forward. And so as we look to the future, I'm excited about continuing to protect those values, preserve those values, but continue to find more ways to stay current and adaptable. The body will stay the same, but quite potentially the outfit may change. The new generation may want a different color or a different style, so on and so forth. But I'm looking forward to that. I'm also looking forward to the relationships that we're building here with the G3. Dalton, I hope I don't blow up your spot by saying this, but we were sitting over there just at the beginning as your grandfathers were being presented in the video. And Dalton and I had tears in our eyes at one point. And I said to him, if you look around this room, every single one of these lives has been made better because of your grandparents. And how special that is. And so to see you guys sitting here with us today and to be able to build these relationships moving forward, I've got total confidence. And I believe this is the reason why we've been successful to this point from the generations before, and why we'll continue to be successful in the future.
Thank you, Francis. What an inspiration. I'd like to change gears just a little bit. Aaron, if I may put you on the spot a little bit. You also work for Amway full-time, based in Ada, and you've worked in various capacities. You've worked in audit and sales and some other things. There's one of your areas of responsibility which I'd like to touch on today, which is the area of succession planning. Would you give us, I know you're working on that, tell us why that's so important right now.
Absolutely. Thank you for the lead-in, Francis, into this conversation. A few years ago, the Voss and Bonanno families, which we'll refer to as the Amway family, made a really intentional effort of beginning discussions about that engagement for the third generation. The change from first generation to second generation was very easy because you had two people basically saying what was going to happen. When you get into those future generations, that conversation becomes vastly more difficult, and for quite some time we kind of avoided it. But thankfully a few years ago we began that conversation, and Doug mentioned it earlier, we lost two very important people last year in Grandpa Rich and Grandma Helen. And had we not begun those conversations when we did, I don't know that we would be in the place that we are today. And so when we began those conversations, I believe we had 2 individuals in our third generation that were actually fully involved in the company. Since that time, today, we have about 34 individuals in that third generation that are involved. And I think that is an incredible number. And the point I want to make there is that it is such an important thing for each and every one of us, not only to be here, but to want to be here. And each of those individuals made it their decision to want to be a part of this business. And that doesn't just segregate itself to the Amway family. It involves each and every one of you that are out there. You have built something so big and so fantastic, but what is the next step? Each and every one of us is going to live this life and take it as far as we can take it, but who are those next leaders? What is your business going to look like 10, 15, 8, 100? That is a very realistic question, and that is something that even on this panel with Francis, Keeping Next Generation, and Ninoy mentioned it earlier about giving on that information and that knowledge and that ability to build that business. It is such an important component of our business that we need to be intentional about, and we need to have that conversation now.
Thank you, Aaron. And isn't it great to see so many second generation ABOs with us here in Las Vegas as well? It's a really, really great privilege to welcome them, with their parents and seeing the business being transferred into the second generation as you described. I'd like to conclude perhaps with a slightly different topic, and I'm kind of looking at Ninoy and Dalton a little bit here, in as much as Doug was saying, every single person in this room is an adventurer in some sense. You guys kind of take it to a different level. Ninoy, you climb some of the biggest mountains around the world. Dalton, you've just recently sailed around the world, circumnavigated the globe in a boat over a 2-year period. Tell us a little bit about how you think the way that you're channeling the spirit of Rich and Jay, that adventurous spirit, how you think that adventurous spirit should inform Amway in the future. Ninoy?
Great question. I was just listening to Mr. Dr. Walsh, and I believe that being pioneering, adventurous, is almost the same thing with being entrepreneurial. I like to share it and sum it up like this. I like to share from my recent personal experience. Just last month, in April, I was climbing one of the highest mountains in the world, 7,000 meters above the sea level in the Himalaya, part of Everest. Now, a lot of people might think that the best part of the whole trip is when I summit. Yes, it was the hardest part. We left the base camp at 2 a.m. and we summit at 9 a.m. But you know what? When I was up there at the summit, at the top, I was excited. I was proud of myself. I was happy. But that feeling didn't last. It was fleeting. But what I found is when I was making my way down to Lukla, to Kathmandu, I come across and I met with all those beginners who just started their trek. Either day 1, day 2, or day 5. And I can sense the inconfidence in their heart. I can see the fear, the doubt in their eye. And I found out that the best part is when I shake their hand. Yeah, shake. Yeah, like that. Shake their hand. I said, don't worry, Peter, keep going. You can do it. And it's all worth it. You just keep going. And I found that it's the most fulfilling moment. And it lasts. Yes. It lasts. So, ladies and gentlemen, I believe that for us all to move this business forward, we must accept the responsibility and the obligation to one another that in order to move this forward, we got to work hard, get to the top, come back down, and help our people keep the promise. And in Amway, you can do that as many times as you want compared to climbing the mountain. You work hard, you get to the top, and you come back here and tell the people that they can do it too. You tell all our Chinese friends here, 我相信你可以做得到. Tell our Korean friends, how suiso na midoyo. And our Japanese friend, Gambate. And of course, to our Thai friend, you can do it, kun tham dai. I think that's the whole foundation of our business. Thank you very much.
Well, speaking of climbing mountains, it reminds me of a time a few years ago when my family was able to have a conversation with Bear Grylls, and he was talking to us about his hike up Mount Everest and the summit, and it was all, an incredible story building up to the culmination of getting to the summit. And then he finished the story and he said, "Hey, does anybody have any questions?" And my grandpa was the first person to raise his hand. How'd you get down? Because coming down can be the most difficult part. That's where people have the most accidents. So I think that in adventure, and especially in my own adventure, we ran into so many different challenges, so many unforeseen challenges, and some that we probably could have expected. I may have run the boat aground once or twice. We may have almost run out of fuel a few times, but the other thing that happened was our anchor chain broke. Thankfully, we were on board, because often we were not. And had we not been on board when the anchor chain broke, the boat would have washed, totally ashore and been smashed to pieces. So I think that those types of challenges are really what make that trip an adventure. And I think that when you're building a business, when you're building an Amway business, you're coming out of your comfort zone, right? You're breaking your barriers, and you're dealing with things that you wouldn't have expected to deal with, situations that come to you and you have to figure out, right? That's where the adventure lies. Look at everybody around you. Look at everybody here, the person right next to you. It's absolutely amazing what all of our adventurers here have accomplished over the past 60 years. Right. This truly is the greatest adventure. Yes.
Thank you, Dalton. Thank you, Thank you, Francis. Thank you, Erin, Linky, Rachel. You guys have been awesome. Just sitting, listening to you, I think the audience will join me in feeling that our future is indeed in great hands, and that we have every reason to be very, very excited about our future. Ladies and gentlemen, our younger generation, thank you very much. Thank you, guys. Ladies and gentlemen, something a little bit different. I have an announcement to make. There's so much enthusiasm and optimism for our future, but there's certain things that we at Amway like to retain, because those are the things that make our business so special. One of those things is the way we recognize the success and the hard work of all of our ABOs through our Amway Achievement Pins. These pins that we wear on our lapels. Well, to celebrate our 60th anniversary, we at Amway are making an announcement today that we are about to unveil a whole new family of recognition achievement pins. And so just as Amway has evolved over time, so do these symbols of our success. And so I just want to say that we at Amway look forward to recognizing you and the thousands and thousands of people in your organizations in the years ahead with these new pins. Take a look.
Van Andel.
What a program. Boy, we heard a lot of different discussion today. We heard Doug talk a little bit about the future, what was going, what he was thinking of. We heard Millen talk about the future and about what's happening with technology and about his journey to A70. And we just heard the panel talk about the future as well, talk about what some of the changes are in the business that are going on. I think that's all fantastic to see how we continue to adapt to the future. I'm going to talk just briefly, I think I'll make my niece very happy. I'm going to talk briefly about legacy a little bit, and about maybe some of those things that don't change. I remember kind of growing up and having dinner and listening to my dad talk a little bit at the dinner table about different things. He would talk about what it meant to own your own business. He would talk a little bit about failure. He would talk about some of the things that happened. Doug talked about the sailing trip that he and Rich had where they wanted to go down to South America, but they didn't quite make it there. But he also talked a lot about being in business for himself, about being in business with Rich, about providing for his family, and about being in business with friends, with others, about helping others succeed. All those stories we heard at the dinner time sounded a lot to me like freedom, family, hope, and reward. I think Dad and Rich knew that the business would give them what they wanted or what they were looking for, but they also wanted to be able to do that same thing for others as well. I know Dad and Rich, in fact, many that started the business 60 years ago were not here. But we do hear their words. We feel them inside. They've invested in us. I think our hearts are etched by their dreams. Well, when I look at the panel of next generation talking about the business, it's a little different maybe than Dad and Rich and what they thought about things and how they thought about things. Maybe it's different than everybody else in this room as well. But guess what? They have their own dreams. I think the good news is that our hearts grow bigger and there's room for everybody's dreams. But that panel talked a little bit about the future, about social selling, about using technology, and about, even Millen talked about his journey for the next 10 years. Well, the great thing in the Amway business is the Amway business allows you the freedom to take your own dream and apply your own dream to what you're doing. Anyone can do it. Anyone can be in the Amway business. But each one of you may be different than the other. I think that potential is obvious. The potential of the business is obvious. Just look at this room. 60 years ago, there was no one in this room, and now it's filled. Tremendous reward, I think, for the accomplishments that you've done, for the achievements you've made, the success that you've had. You see the rewards. The rewards of coming here and celebrating, of having a beach party last night. Everything that we've heard today, I think, has been very inspiring. Everything from the addition of new bonuses with Core Plus. Everything from product innovation that Millen was talking about, technology that changes to meet the marketplace for today. All those are things that we think about the future on, but I also know
My dad thought about the future a lot as well. I think some of you, or many of you, may have been at the 50th anniversary 10 years ago. I remember it was shortly after my dad had passed away. But at the time, Rich was going to go on stage, and it was the first time without the two of them on stage. So we decided to use a little technology of the day and use a hologram for my dad. But we had it set up so that Rich got on stage, started speaking, and actually introduced my dad. It was in an arena like this, or a big room like this. And all of a sudden, Dad started talking. The hologram of Dad started talking, and you could have heard a pin drop in that entire arena. It was very quiet. But Dad went through and talked for a couple minutes, but I remember one of the lines that he said, and I think it's very, very true today, or at least it's a good line for today. He said, "We know the future is more remarkable than we could ever imagine." He knew there was tremendous future for the effort for our opportunity, but he also knew that the future was going to look a lot different than it did 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 60 years ago. Great thing about the Amway business is it's changed over time, and it'll continue to change in the future. But the other good thing about the Amway business is there's a tremendous amount of hope. There's hope in a lot of different things. But I think we heard Doug talk about where the true hope is. The hope is in people. The hope is in the partnerships that we all have. I remember a few years ago, I was here, in fact, in Las Vegas for another event. It was in December, and it was 12 years after Dad had passed away, and I remember on the very day, on the date in December that he had passed away, I was sitting up in my room getting ready to go down to a business meeting. And I got a phone call. The phone call was from Rich. He said, I picked up the phone and he said, "You know, it was 12 years ago that your dad has passed away." He said, 12 years ago that your dad went home. And he started to talk about the good times they had, about the friendship they had. He talked about Amway. He talked about all of the business owners. He talked about the importance of opportunity. Now, it could have been a sad moment, a sad phone call, but for me it was tremendously inspiring. It was tremendously inspiring to hear Rich talk about Dad and the partnership they had. Well, things change. Dad and Rich are together again. But the legacy, as we've seen today, lives on from Dad and Rich. I think partnerships make this business unlike any other. We're all in this room part of family. We're all part of the Amway family. Generations before us invested in us. But you know, everybody in this room is doing the same thing for the next generation. In fact, many of you have brought kids. Your children are here. Your next generation is here. Maybe even grandkids. But we've done that as well. You saw up on stage. You saw the next generation of Benandel and DeVosses. We actually have today here about 50 members of second, third, and fourth generation Benandel and DeVos family. But you also heard them on the panel talking a little bit, some of the third generation. And you can see that we continue as a family to learn about the Amway business. We definitely continue to be very engaged in the family business. I think the commitment that we have is stronger than ever to the Amway business. The commitment that we have is not just to the business. The commitment that we have is to you, to all of you in this room. We're very, very committed to your success. And we're excited to celebrate your success. In fact, we're so proud of all of you. Congratulations, everyone. Together, we'll continue to make this the best business in the world. Thanks, everybody.
Rich and I have always known it is our responsibility to put together every part of the Amway opportunity in such a way that the business of each and every distributor will last not only for his lifetime, but for that of his children.
You know, we talk about the Amway business being a family business, but it always revolved around the fact that the core and the great strength revolved around the family unit. And if we could build the business aspects of Amway on the family idea, we would do something to make the world a better place.